Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the realest financial advisor channel that you're going to find on God's green earth here on YouTube so that you can educate and empower yourself to combat any and all personal finance and investing matters. This is your one-stop shop here for that. So pound that subscribe button right there. This video and all videos I do are for informational purposes and not intended to be advice. I will plug below in the description my calendar in case you'd like some time to chat with me one-on-one about your personal matters. Today we're talking about NVIDIA. What in the hell happened to that stock yesterday on January 29th that actually triggered an MSNBC market turmoil special? NVIDIA stock, the semiconductor chip maker, AI guru company, went down 17% on Monday, January 29th, closed around $118. Today, the stock's come back about 9%, gone back up to, I believe, $129 today. So what triggered this massive correction? We're going to talk about that today. NVIDIA has been a stock that's been flying high for as long as I can remember. The optimism in this stock is unlike many things I've ever seen in my time in the financial services industry, and it's for good reason. Fundamentally, the company's shown really good growth in their revenue year over year. They make semiconductor chips in order to fuel the development of artificial intelligence. Now, there's different kinds of artificial intelligence. You're going to hear me say language learning model, LLM. You're going to hear me say that a lot. When you think of an LLM, think of ChatGPT as a prime example there. Okay, so people are so optimistic about this technology. Why? Well, it's called ChatGPT, and the GPT stands for General Purpose Technology. This is innovation that don't come around too often in the history of humankind. Maybe when the light bulb came to the market, that was considered a general purpose technology. Or all the great tools used during the Industrial Revolution, those could be considered general purpose technology. The internet, which obviously that boomed in the late 90s, technology that changed our entire economy and therefore world as we know it. AI is the next thing up in that conversation, and investors are obviously optimistic about it. That's what's fueled this NVIDIA run for so long, and I think that's part of why people were so shocked when the stock went down 17% yesterday. Think about a market as the biggest behavioral study that's ever been conducted in the history of the world. I think of a little euphemism I like to use called Mr. Market. Mr. Market might be feeling happy one day. Mr. Market might be feeling melancholy another day. Mr. Market might be panicked a couple days from then. I want you to think about Mr. Market. And I want you to think about the fact that Mr. Market's mood changes a lot, like any other human being. Despite all these feelings, short-term turmoil, short-term euphoria, any emotion you can name, it seems like Mr. Market tends to make progress over time. But what we can't do is allow for Mr. Market's moods and whims on a day-to-day basis to affect how we live our life. So I want you guys to remember that whenever we're talking about situations like this. So what happened with the NVIDIA drop yesterday? News came out that a Chinese company called DeepSeek was able to develop a LLM that has the same capabilities as ChatGPT's latest model, and they did it for about 6% of ChatGPT OpenAI's cost. DeepSeek was able to develop an LLM with the same capabilities as ChatGPT's latest model for $6 million, whereas it was reported that ChatGPT has spent over $100 million developing the same technology. So that obviously triggered concerns, anxieties from US investors in specifically NVIDIA. Oracle, AMD, Broadcom were also affected yesterday. But the greater concern is that Chinese companies might be able to do this same stuff that we're doing here in the US for cheaper. And it was the first kind of whisper of competition in this market coming from the outside. So the long-term concern for NVIDIA is how much is competition going to play a factor in this AI space? I'd argue a lot. I think back to the dot-com boom in the 90s. Who were the major players that all the news outlets were talking about? They were talking about Yahoo. They were talking about pets.com. They were talking about 10 other companies that don't even exist anymore because they're so irrelevant. Who came out of that? Amazon, Google, Facebook. Players that weren't even on the radar yet in that space. So the long-term concern and something you, the investor, need to be looking out for when investing in AI companies is how is competition, whether domestic or international, going to affect the space? It's very hard to predict. And like I said, there could be players that emerge out of the rough that none of us saw coming, just like Facebook, just like Google, just like Amazon. And I'm not saying necessarily that history is going to repeat itself, but history, a lot of the time, does rhyme. The counter argument to this could be that market leaders tend to hang in longer than everyone else that comes in afterward. Tesla is a prime example of this in the electric vehicle space. You're seeing competition heat up a little bit as Tesla's market share, I believe, has dropped below 50% in the electric vehicle market, but they obviously are still the number one player in that space because they've had so much time to develop their product because they got in first. So that's the counter argument to the whole dot-com theory that I just presented to you. Now, if we look at the short term, this January 29th, 17% drop could have just been a knee-jerk reaction from Mr. Market. But I do think that it could be an indicator of a more macro picture where competition is going to play a big role in which of these artificial intelligence stocks really rise to the top. And so we'll look out for upcoming releases from NVIDIA. Like I said, the stock went back up 9% today. So that's a good optimistic response to yesterday's quote unquote Armageddon of the stock. It shed $600 billion yesterday, which is the single largest market cap erasure in stock market history for a day. So we'll take a look at what we've got coming up next for NVIDIA. I think they've got some events coming up in February where the CEO, Jensen Huang, is going to make remarks on the state of the business. So we'll look out for that. Again, if you like this video, if you got value from it, hit the like button, comment your thoughts, things that you'd like to see us talk about, and pound that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates on personal finance, picking the right advisor, investing, this, that, and the other. And if you want to talk with me directly, I will link my calendar in the description below so that you can book some time. Love y'all, appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next video.